Hey everyone, in this tutorial we're going to take a look at the Headshot 2.0 plugin and how you can use it to create a CC3 Plus character. You can learn all about the new Headshot 2.0 plugin from the main product page here, where you can also purchase it. You can then proceed to install it from Reolution Hub, making sure to click Refresh to ensure you have the latest version. Once installed, you can find the Headshot plugin from the plugin menu at the top. Once open, you'll see that there are two modes, Image Mode and Mesh Mode. Image Mode is a legacy mode that uses a photo and some simple setup to generate a CC3 Plus character similar to the photo. Mesh Mode, on the other hand, is the new feature with Headshot 2.0 that we will demonstrate here. There are four model types in Mesh Mode, which you can see here. Whole will be a complete and hairless head model, while Covered is for models wearing hats or hair. Partial is used for face-scanned models, while full body is used for full body models. This model from Texturing XYZ is ideal because it doesn't have any hair or eyebrows, and is a complete head model, meaning that Headshot 2.0 doesn't need to edit the existing texture. Okay, let's move on to the model import and basic settings. Here I'm importing an OBJ format model as a prop and applying its diffuse map into the base color channel. It's important to note your model should be facing the camera. You can use the navigation tools at the top or simply use the F hotkey to snap to a front view. Once you're satisfied with the view, make sure the model is selected and click the Start Head Generation button. This will take us to step 1 of a 3-step process, which is setting alignment points for facial features. We'll get to the other 2 steps in a bit, which are head generation and mesh refinement. The Mesh to Head panel has a window on the left, which is where you will construct and edit your head, while on the right window, we'll see our original imported source model. In the Align Point step, we want to mark our source model with a number of points to define the location of different facial features and proper texture wrapping. You can choose a 24, 32, or 35 point preset here, depending on how detailed you need to be. More points will better preserve the original shape of the base model. Please note that these points all need to be defined in order, starting from 1. To add a point, simply left-click on the source model where you want to add it. You'll want to add them as close as possible to the reference point shown in the left window. To delete the last point, use Ctrl and then left-click. There is also a Delete All Target Points button, which will delete all of the points, as well as an opacity slider and color selector panel. You can also start off your target point process by clicking on Auto Detection, which will analyze the model and set the minimum 24 points automatically. From there, you can refine the position of all of the points. There will also be some undefined red points in this case, so you'll need to define these manually on the source model. With this simple model, the target point structure is fairly simple. However, you may encounter more stylized or complex models like this monster character, which will require additional points to define it correctly. Once you're satisfied with the positioning of your target points, click on Head Gen AI to go to the next step. Before you do this, however, please ensure that the number of target points is the same on both sides. In the Head Gen AI section, we will select areas of the mesh where we want to maintain the existing shape and hide areas that we don't need. You can select a shading mode from the top menu. In this case, I'm using Wireframe on Shaded Black. On the side, there are 3 presets to show or hide certain parts of the mesh as well. Here I want to have the entire head visible in this case, so I'll choose that preset. There may also be scenarios such as partial head scans, where you have an incomplete model like you see here. When this type of model is taken into the Head Gen AI step, you'll find that the AI will automatically generate the remaining texture and mesh. However, this step is only used to maintain the area of the mesh that we want to preserve from the original, so we would use one of the partial head presets in this case. You don't need to worry about losing any AI-generated textures. These can still be found in the final stage. Alright, our next stage is to refine the mesh, so let's click on that section next. In this stage, you can toggle the respective buttons at the top to see the source mesh and CC base mesh overlapped, and there's also a checkbox and slider for CC mesh visibility. This step is where you'll ensure that the CC mesh conforms closely to the original mesh. On the right, you'll see 4 different brush types. Move will allow you to modify the surface shape by selecting vertices. The hotkey for this is Shift 1. Smooth evens out the surface to create a cleaner and more even topology. The hotkey for Smooth is Shift 2. Clone is similar to Smooth, but it modifies the affected area by using blend weights to conform the mesh closer to the neutral CC head shape or AI-generated mesh shape. Lastly, the Project brush enables you to project the shape of the original head surface onto the CC4 head mesh, creating a more accurate copy of the original head mesh. In this step, it's important to pay special attention to the parts of the mesh bordering the eyes and mouth areas, as it will determine their respective closing results. When refining the mesh around places like the eye, you'll want to ensure that you select the vertices closest to the edge for movement. If you have the Keep Borders checkbox selected, it will be more difficult to move the edges of the mesh. If you want to move the edges or borders of the mesh surrounding areas like the eyes and mouth, ensure that Keep Borders is disabled, but Conform to Source Mesh is still checked. You can then proceed to move the edge vertices to conform closer to the positioning of the source mesh. Once you do these movements, you may also want to consider smoothing out and repositioning surrounding vertices to even things out for better performance in the end. The same goes for the mouth. There are heavier lines that define where the lip topology should be placed, and you'll want to make sure the opening vertices are placed accurately for best results. If you want more details about the mesh and topology, you can find a guide for download on the main page. We have another tutorial that talks specifically about this as well. Once your mesh refinement is all set, you can click on the Attach Body button at the bottom and a Generate Character panel will pop up to allow us to choose from a number of different body type presets. You can also choose from one of the texture mask presets to determine how much of the original texture you wish to preserve, and how much needs to be generated. Here we're choosing No Mask since we have a complete 360 mesh and we want to preserve all of the textures. In Texture Baking options, you can choose from 4 different diffuse options. You can bake from the source, or from a high poly mesh of a model which you've already painted. Project from Image will bake from a frontal image of a person you import, and Textureless will not apply any diffuse yet. You can apply one later via SkinGen content from the Content Manager in this case. For the normal map, you have 2 options. You can bake from the source mesh, or import a different high poly mesh and bake from there. In this case, I'm baking both from the source mesh, which I know is 4K, so I'll choose that preset under the Texture Size dropdown. From there, click the Generate button and you'll end up with your finished character along with the original mesh, which we can move up for a closer comparison. If we take both into wireframe mode, we can see that our CC3 Plus character's topology is much simpler, yet it maintains the same detail as the original head due to the texture details we baked in the last step. After you have your head shape, there are a few more things you can do to add your own refinements. One is the Headshot Morphs, which you can find in the Shape Adjustment section of the Headshot V2 panel. These allow for basic manipulation of the mesh using preset areas defined by section. You can also find the Headshot Morph 1000 pack, which comes free with purchase of the Headshot plugin. You can easily find it by searching Headshot Morph in the Content Manager. You can then do some basic edits in the Headshot panel using the dummy controls, and you will also have access to over 1,000 individual detailed morph sliders that allow you to manipulate every little detail of your facial mesh. There are also a number of eye presets that you can use to set your character's eye color. Naturally, these can all be adjusted further outside of the Headshot V2 panel. The collection of Headshot Morphs that I mentioned earlier can all be found in the Headshot group in the Morphs tab of the Modify panel. In the Edit Facial tool, you can open the lips to reveal the teeth, which we may want to scale up a bit. You can do that back in the Headshot Morph group by searching for Scale, and then use the relevant sliders to get to your preferred size. There's also a number of basic skin presets in the Headshot panel, which allow you to mask different parts of the skin texture and adjust the skin type. In this example, I've kept the character's original texture. If I want to make it a simple head without the hair and accessories, I can use one of the relevant mask presets from the dropdown to get rid of all of the surrounding skin texture and replace it with generated skin. To complement it further, I can then choose one of the skin type presets with scalp stubble or a clean soft preset to keep it smooth. You can use some expression templates to test the results of your finished head and enhance them even further with wrinkle presets. Here I'm applying a simple wrinkle preset to enhance the expression. You can customize the wrinkle layer in various ways in the Wrinkles tab of the Modify panel. We have a separate tutorial series that goes into much more detail on that. You can then easily transfer your character with a single click to iClone to take advantage of powerful animation tools and features such as Look At, Face Key Editor, Face Puppet, a highly customizable automatic lip sync, as well as detailed facial motion capture. Naturally, there is also a huge number of options for body morphs as well to customize the shape of your character's body. From there, you can also add all sorts of different hair templates which can be obtained on the content store from Reallusion as well as various high-quality developers. As with everything else, you can customize your hair color, texture, and much more down to the most minute detail. Once you're satisfied with the various physical aspects of your character's face and body, you can take advantage of the massive library of clothing options available from Reallusion and its developers, and even import in your own custom clothing from other sources as well. As a veteran pipeline tool, the options for character customization are unlimited with Character Creator. Headshot version 2 takes those powerful customization options to the next level. That's it for this Getting Started tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.